Welcome back to another episode of Flavours of Africa. Today, we're taking a look at the Democratic Republic of Congo as well as the Republic of Congo. A lot of the times, people get the two mixed up.
Yes, I can see why, because they're very close to each other and they have the same name, all in Central Africa.
That's true. I mean, they're neighbors, they share the same name, they're in the same vicinity. But the Democratic Republic of Congo, the capital is Kinshasa.
Yeah.
And it has a bigger population compared to the Republic of Congo. So about 71 million people live in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The short name is the DRC.
Awesome.
And the official language of that country is French.
Yes.
A lot of people in Central Africa speak French. Interestingly enough, like we mentioned earlier on, it has the biggest population in the world of French-speaking people.
Yes,
so that's
even bigger than France.
Bigger than France, bigger than Quebec,
in
bigger
Africa?
than Louisiana.
Wow.
So I mean, it's a great reason to, if you ever travel to Africa, to different parts, to have a good command of course, English and French.
Yes.
Apart from French, they have their indigenous languages as well. Swahili being one of them. So that's another big language.
Yeah, that's what you told me, because I thought Swahili was only spoken in South Africa and East Africa and some parts of that. You see, even though it's my Africa, you know, very interesting.
It's my Africa too, even though I'm a Canadian.
Well, I was born in Africa, you were born in Canada.
Exactly.
So, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking about that influence from the other countries like Uganda, Rwanda, you know, they had sort of a political influence as well as on the Congo. So that's why you see that, you know, that the connections, just like we see in Nigeria now, like we talked about the music. They're not too far away from each other when you think about it.
Yes.
And the Congo, it's such an interesting place because, you know, there's a lot of hope for Africa.
Yes,
I mean, there are a lot of resources in the Congo that make it one of the richest countries, so to speak.
Yes, riches because of the natural resources, right?
Yeah. And
go ahead.
Well, other interesting things about the Congo are that it is the second biggest country in Africa. That's talking about the size of the country.
Yes.
And it is the fourth largest in population. Of course, Nigeria beats out any other country with its hundreds of millions of people.
Awesome.
So it's very interesting.
Wow.
And then we have Congo Brazzaville.
Yeah, the smaller Congo, smaller than the Democratic Republic of Congo. Yeah.
Of course, and when we talk about smaller in terms of landmass, of course, it's also smaller in terms of population. It's only 4 million people, which is comparative to a city.
I know, it's really small.
So it's very small.
Yeah, so I guess that so many Congolese that live here in Calgary, most of them that I've met, they are from the DRC, as we call it. Yeah, so that's very interesting. And we dress the same way. You know, the way, you see, when you go to the Congo, you will see that they dress like we do too. The same ankara.
Yeah, it's a very nice outfit.
Exactly. So, you know. So that's how.
Okay, now this leads me to another question. Did Nigeria start the fashion with the African prince, or was it the DRC that's like I'm
from Nigeria. I'm gonna say that everything nice started from Nigeria. That I'm going to tell you. I'm sorry because we are the fashion guru. You know, when it comes to fashion, I'm not making this up. When it comes to fashion, when it comes to our hair tie that we call the crown of glory, Nigeria is I call it the crown of glory because when I put it on, it's like move over Madonna or whoever. But I'm telling you that in Nigeria, we have fashion industry and it's booming. And now you see so many people. Last time, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I was watching the news, I was watching CNN, and I saw this American. She's white, and she had her crown of glory.
Oh, wow.
I guess she was covering this news, and she was talking about Nigerian fashion industry. And I was so amazed, and I was sleeping, but I woke up, I'm like, what, did you come Nigeria? So that will tell you how advanced Nigerian fashion industry really is, you know, apart from the movie.
Well,
you know.
I was just going to say, we have our Nollywood in Nigeria, but now I'm seeing Gollywood from Ghana and even even Eastern African. So is it us
No,
that's
because we
doing it?
inspire other countries. If you look at
It's
Ghana,
probably
for
true.
example, Ghana is evolving in terms of their movie industry, you know. So that's how it is. We set the
Set the
trend.
bar too,
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. And so
I
people
think.
come and copy, but it's all good, you
Yeah.
know. It's all, you know, the same Africa, no wahala,
Yeah.
you know. So that's what it is. And the Congolese, they cook differently from West Africans. So when they cook, they have peanuts. They use peanuts in their in their food or in their sauces. Of course, we do. Like Ghanaians, they use peanuts. We do too. Some parts of Africa, and they use cassava leaves. They also use pumpkin leaves. Like when I was growing up, I've never cooked with cassava leaves, but I must tell you that I've tasted it in Ottawa, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. So that brings me to what we're making today.
The delicious part.
The delicious food. So we're gonna cook up the rice, and so do we take a break and come back and
think that sounds good.
our viewers what we're making for them today? So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna show you the ingredients that are going into making this delicious dish for you. So stay tuned.
More on Flavors of Africa coming up. Welcome back to another episode of Flavors of Africa. Here, we're celebrating Central African culture and what it has to offer. Now, we were just talking about your beautiful outfits.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Yes.
And I was just wondering, how comfortable do you feel sort of wearing it in mainstream society? Do you feel the need to conform, or would you feel comfortable in functions that aren't necessarily African wearing this outfit?
No, because I always say never forget where you come from. When I put on my African clothes, I feel like the princess or the queen, you know, that I am. You know, I'm telling you. Because last time we attended the Enablers, and I dressed in my African clothes. It's something that people stop to admire. So you need to be proud of who you are. I never had the need to fit in, you know, anywhere. I love the country that I live in, which is Canada, because it's peaceful. But I've never, you know, I will never forget where I come from, you know, because
so it's for you, it's celebrating your culture that way.
It's who I am. You know, the moment you forget who you are,
you run into problems.
Exactly. you know, you forget where you're from, then you forget who you are. So that's why I always say that, you know, unless if they say it's going to be business, that's how it is. But if it's like dress the way you want, you know, I will dress in African clothes. So I love, you know, preserving my culture. It's very important to me, you know.
Perfect.
So that's how it is.
Well,
so,
I guess it brings us to the cooking. Another way to preserve our culture is through
maintaining
the
food
and promoting it and letting our Canadian friends sharing it as well.
Exactly, sharing with people is very, very important. So this brings me to our ingredients today. We're making rice, and it's not going to be rice and stew. It's going to be jollof rice. Rice is widely eaten in Africa. It's a staple in Africa, apart from the fufu, the pounded yam. So we have our ingredients here. So we're going to start by adding the oil. Where's our oil? Okay, so we're going to start cooking the rice. So we're going to add, again, it's olive oil. We're just going to add a little bit of olive oil, about 3 tablespoons, not too much of oil. So that's what we have here. And then we heat it up. And then we start adding our ingredients. In the Congo, or the Congolese, they eat lots of fish. They eat goat meat. So for that reason, we've chosen to use some goat meat to go very well with our jollof rice. So that's what we have here.
What is it about goat meat that people in Africa really love? I enjoy goat meat, but I never really understood.
I wish I could tell you what it is, but we all studied, you know, when I was born, and they introduced goat meat to me, and I really like it. But the funny thing is that Africans don't drink the goat milk here. People drink goat milk. They say, oh, it's goat milk. We say, who drinks goat milk? And then you say, would you like some beef and goat meat? They say, oh, no, we don't eat goat meat, but we drink
the milk.
Goat, yeah, so whatever, you like. So here, would you like to do the honor? It's a little hot, so be careful. Just pour everything in. Oh, there's water. So that's the joy of cooking. So we're gonna go ahead, add the onions. This dish takes a total of 45 minutes to cook, all right? So you add the onions. This is chopped onions, by the way. About half of one small onion we do. So you continue to cook it.
And you know a little French too. I think I've...
Ah, comment ça va? Oui, ça va bien. That's what I know. If you want to say to somebody, come here, viens ici. Yeah. I know a little bit because we lived in Ottawa.
That's
and
true.
I mean, most people speak English and French in Ottawa. So that's really interesting. Perfect. So while this is cooking, I'm going to add the pureed tomatoes. So this is like, I have 3 medium-sized tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, and to that I added half of red pepper, just to give it a little bit color, and of course a little bit of onions, just chopped onions, about a tablespoon, all right? So that's what I have here, and that's gonna go into our sauce, or the goat meat.
But you know what I've always wanted to know is what also makes you so proud of like your heritage and things like that? Like what, some people come here and they want to assimilate, they want to just, make things easier on themselves, but what makes it?
Because you have to love yourself. If you're not proud of who you are, how can you love yourself? If you love who you are proud of who you are. And it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter how long I've lived here. I'm so proud to be an African. Why I love Canada, I always tell you, I'm an African, and I will continue to be an African. So that's what it is, and that's why I love promoting my culture, for people to know how proud I really am, coming from Africa. Yeah. Because Africa is beautiful. When I was growing up in Nigeria, it was such a friendly place.
Yes.
We loved one another, not that we don't love one another anymore, but I've been away for the longest time. And when I think back about my, my childhood, I'm forever grateful because I had a wonderful childhood. And what made it wonderful was the family setting, friendship, you name it. And I still have so many friends all over the world, people living here in Canada that are from Nigeria and in the States. And when I call them, it's like, we always talk about home growing up. And you can't put a price on that. So, yeah. That's what it is.
So I guess it's better to get the both worlds. Having,
Exactly.
You can have both.
You really can.
Perfect.
You really can. So this is African spices. I've spoken about African spices. It makes our dish what it is, is so delicious. So you need to add that. And then again, I have the curry. Curry powder in African dishes, of course. Curry originated from India. You see how you can borrow from one culture? So, we use it in our dishes. And if you go to Jamaica, they also use curry, so it's awesome. So
I want to add cinnamon.
Cinnamon, yeah, that is because cinnamon rice, but for this one, I know you like cinnamon, but we can't add cinnamon in this one. All right, so I'm just gonna put a little bit. So the next ingredient, you see the joy of television. So we cook this down for at least 15 minutes because of the fresh tomato. We don't add sugar, we just cook it down, and that removes the acidity. So now, we're gonna go ahead and put a tablespoon, about a tablespoon of tomato paste, and that will give it color. And while you're cooking that, I'm gonna show our viewers what we have here. We have rice. This is white rice, is jasmine. And I just cooked it for about 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes, so it's half cooked, so it's not completely cooked. So that will quicken the cooking time and makes it more delicious. So that's what I have here. So once we cook down the tomato sauce, we would add some chicken broth. I have the chicken broth here. And some people like to buy chicken broth or beef broth or vegetable broth. I truly like to make mine, and as you can see, because I put it in the freezer to remove the fat around it, so that's why it's like this. So you can actually make yours. The best way to make your chicken broth is if you have like one whole chicken, you can put it in a pot, add some water, add all your spices like celery, African spices if you have it. If you don't have African spices, the best way to go is to use thyme. Thyme is great. You can also put rosemary, you know, different spices, and then simmer it down. And you can put like vegetables like carrots, just simmer it, and then you get this lovely chicken broth. Then you can actually use the chicken to make soup, like what do you call it, vegetable soup,
yes.
or
which is perfect for the winter.
Soup.
Perfect for the winter.
It's good for your soul, right? So you can do that. So nothing is wasted. So that's basically what I do. I love making my own things from scratch. You know, if I can, I do that. So that's what it is. So we're gonna let it cook down, and then we add the rice, like I already said. However, we need to take a little break. So when we come back, we're gonna continue cooking the jollof rice. That's what it is, jollof rice. I think we made it during our very first episode.
We did.
So
a while back now.
Exactly. Now that we're going to the Congo, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna make it again, and the only difference is that we're gonna show you the peanut sauce that goes very well with the jollof rice. So stay tuned.
More on Flavors of Africa to come. Welcome back to another episode of Flavors of Africa. Right now we are preparing a dish that celebrates Central African cooking.
Yes, and it's jollof rice. The only difference is that we are going to serve it with the peanut soup. All right, so now we have the stew. The stew is ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and add our rice.
That's the jasmine rice.
Yes. So if you don't have jasmine rice, any rice can do. You know, any parboiled rice would be awesome for this dish.
No wahala.
Exactly, no wahala.
So also remember, you can also tweet us at flavors_Africa. If you have any questions, you want to follow us, check up on us.
Yes,
You can also send us an email, flavorsofafrica@shaw.ca, and make sure that you like us on Facebook.
It sounds great. And I'm going to put chicken bouillon. That's just half of it. We call it Maggi in Nigeria.
Maggi.
Yeah.
Maggi.
Maggi, you know. And I have the African peppers that I cooked, you know, for a few minutes. I like to do that. That's what I have here. And it's really, really hot. So I'm just going to put a little bit, you know, that will spice it up, not too much. And because it's already cooked, if you like to add it to your food that is already cooked, please go ahead and do it, no wahala. So the rice is cooking. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the chicken broth, all right? Awesome. So that's what I have here.
Mix it up.
So you could use the, what do you call it? Beef broth, goat broth, anything, no wahala. So we're gonna cover it and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. So if you'll excuse me here, I'm just gonna, all right. So we're gonna let it cook, and then we're gonna talk about our peanut. As you can see, it's cooking, so I'm just gonna transfer it here a little bit so you can see. Now, the peanut sauce. To make the peanut sauce, all you need is just 2 tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. That's what we use here. And then 3 large tomatoes, that's fresh tomatoes, chop it. And then the onions, about half of 1 onion we do, and of course a little bit of garlic, about a teaspoon of garlic, because we don't want to we don't want the garlic to overpower the onions, so that's why we put just a teaspoon, okay guys? So you add your olive oil, and then you add your onions, you add your fresh tomatoes, you cook it for a while, and then you put just a tablespoon of tomato paste, and you cook it down. It takes about 10 minutes to cook, because notice that spinach is very soft, so you don't want to overcook it, you know. So once you add all your fresh ingredients like the onions, the fresh tomatoes, and then the pureed tomatoes, that's when you go ahead and put the ground nuts. Remember the ground nuts?
I was just thinking that actually.
The peanuts, so you need to grind your peanuts and then you add it to the sauce. So the spinach is what goes last, because spinach is very, very soft. So you don't want to overcook it, right? So that's what we have here. And I also want to tell you that the Congolese people, they love to eat their peanut soup with fufu. Sometimes they will eat it with, it's almost like yam or potatoes, whatever you have. And they also make a beignet, you know. Yes. It's almost like what we call puff-puff. Yeah. So that's why we have this for you, our Congolese friends, you know, visiting your country.
And as well for Canadians
exactly,
to try as well.
for you to try it.
I'm wondering, when we talk about the fufu, so it can be made out of potatoes and yams according to the Congolese tradition, but is it sort of similar to Nigerian fufu?
Because sometimes they use cornmeal, so it's the same fufu, you know, whatever you use is this sauce that is truly different, you know, but it's the same fufu. So we're just gonna serve it here.
It looks delicious.
Exactly, it sure does. It looks very appetizing. Very and you can even use this as a sandwich. Normally, the Congolese people will cook it with lots of fish, meat, but I just decided to do it just to show you guys how it is made in the Congo. And then also we have the fish. So instead of putting the fish, this gives you a choice. You know, if you don't feel like eating it with the fish, then you can cut the fish and eat it on its own. So we have the rice that is already cooked. I'm going to show it to our wonderful cameraman for you guys to see. So this is what it looks like when it's cooked, because what happens is that actually you can remove the goat meat after you put it in the sauce, so that once it's coated and once the rice is almost cooked, then you can add the beef to give it nice color. And you know, I always say that presentation is everything. I like it to be presentable, so that's why I do it this way. So once again, we're gonna serve it.
Perfect.
All right. Okay, I do what we always do.
All right, so I will take hold of this.
Yeah, you can hold it.
And I'll come over to the other side.
Okay.
A bit of dancing there, I guess.
Awesome. So that's it smells so good.
It looks delicious.
And
colors
I hope
again.
our guests can try it at home. Awesome. And we have the...
Perfect. I can see, like, if you were to put a side of plantain, that would work too.
Yeah, we go very well with the plantain too. So here, our wonderful viewers, we've made the jollof rice with goat meat, and we have the fish sauteed, and then we baked it in the oven for about 10 minutes. It's so easy. This is salmon, by the way, so we just added African spices, you know, lots of homemade spices. That's what we have here. And this is the sauce that we've made. And once again, we're going to eat it with our special South African wine, because we have fish, and this dish goes very well with seafood, so that's why we have it.
It's perfect.
Awesome. And it's been a great show, you know, visiting the Congo.
Yeah, so I'd actually like to visit as well.
Yes.
Visit it one day.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I'm really hoping. And I hope that one day we'll go to Cuba.
Yeah.
Because there's so many Africans, you know, Nigerians, so many Nigerians. They even have Nigerian, I don't know what to call it. Yeah, they have association, but they have some traditional musicians and
Really?
all those, yes,
Yeah.
people living in Cuba. So Africa, you know, we're everywhere. Yeah, so that's really great.
That's
so
neat.
once again, thank you so much for watching Flavours of Africa. And we hope that you will continue to watch us, and we wish you all the best.
Take care. There's more later on Flavours of Africa.
Cheers.